All right, everyone. So this video is me coping with the fact that I'm in one of the later stages in this video that I'm going to talk about here very soon. But when you start a new project, you you can't even visualize a situation where it goes wrong. You're excited to start and you're thinking big, and your motivation is at peak, just imagining where it could take you. Now, within the next couple days, as you guys saw on day 4 of these daily uploads, you kind of reality starts to set in and you're like, okay, this is actually going to take a lot of effort. And sometimes that just seems so giant. But once you can reel it in and take like bite-sized pieces out of the tasks, it breaks it down and it feels realistic. That's when you graduate to fuck it, we're going hard anyways. And this, we've all been there. You become right with the fact that it's going to take a lot of work, but this is short-lived. This is not something that you get the privilege of being in forever, or at least that's not me. And so that's why you're gonna loop these two pretty much potentially multiple times a day. That's what it was. That's what it was for me. You're gonna loop these two until you see your first success. So you're gonna be practical. And that's going to make you doubt shit. But then you're going to have to find the irrational confidence in you somewhere. And this is going to go on as long as it takes until you see success. Now, let's talk about what happens. You get that we are so back feeling, where you're like, okay, this was actually easier than expected, and this whole time I was overthinking it. That's what happened to me. This is very intoxicating, and for me is very motivating, and kind of gives me this like second burst of this right here. But if you try to replicate that success with the mindset that it's so easy, one of two things is going to happen. It either is actually that easy, or you realize, okay, this is still kind of taking a lot of work and time and is not as straightforward as I thought. It's probably going to be somewhere between those two realities, those two options. And then if you're like me right now, you're kind of in that situation where you've gotten the original reward, right? We got those 2 clients, but then we had a third client who I was super like for sure thinking was going to close. We were on the call for like 25 minutes. We were laughing. I recorded the entire thing. In fact, I've been thinking about censoring necessary details, but uploading the call, just so you guys can see what that was like. And yeah, just putting all that effort into that lead and then thinking it was going to go super well, and then waiting 2 or 3 days and kind of being in this like limbo state. And then yesterday marking the end of our goal, basically the end of our opportunity to hit 10K in a month. That was, or the 10K in the span of 30 days. That's what I mean by 10K month right now for the sake of motivation. But the day that goal ended, I got the text. He says he went with someone else. So in reality, what we can do from here, all you can really do is find your way back to fuck it, we're going hard anyways, and loop. Try to stay here, right? Because this is not the high IQ overthinker mode, but this is the mode that gets you to take the necessary action. From my experience, hitting 10 to 20K months, I think my best month ever making money online was like 17 or 18,000 something. And one of the biggest takeaways I've had recently is until you're in like massive scaling mode where you need to like actually hire people and like build complex systems, that 10 to 20K mark is just about like turning your mind and emotions off and just doing work. You know what I mean? It doesn't take a whole lot of strategy, because when you're doing 10 and 20K, you probably don't have like super solid systems. You're not fulfilling work as efficiently as you can. It's just about brute forcing activity. Like you can save the overthinking and the analyzing and the plotting for all these other stages, all these other levels. But when you're in 10 to 20K land, it's kind of like the less you can like come up with reasons to doubt yourself, the better. That's been my experience. And so I'm a very chronic overthinker. And I think part of the reason I started this series was to kind of hold myself accountable as a way to like really reflect on like the action I've taken. And part of the reason I'm making this video is because I'm realizing I'm in lack of motivation after peak dopamine land. It feels good hitting the goal on day 19, day 33, getting those clients. But that is short-lived unless you can keep it going. And so when you try to replicate your success, right, and then it doesn't really work the way you thought it would, even if my efforts weren't even that amazing. I haven't posted on the dental forums that got me those 2 very qualified leads. The third lead having found me from YouTube on day 16. But my most successful so far, I mean, statistically, my most successful way of getting clients, I haven't even revisited. I can't tell you anything why other than I'm just kind of procrastinating. So that's why I'm making these videos, is the more you can just shut your mind off and do the thing that works, or like it's just at this stage, at the stage I'm in, it's abundantly clear, like consciously, what I need to do. But I feel like I think about it so much that actually doing it is like the hardest part. And so you just need to take action. It sounds cliche, but it really is that simple. And I encourage you to, if you're like me, I encourage you to try to be less of an analyzer. That's what I'm trying to do myself. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I appreciate you all for watching, and I don't know, hopefully you guys can relate to this to some, well, maybe I shouldn't hope that you guys relate to this, because some of this isn't ideal. But anyways, appreciate you all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.